Hey, friends, how are you? It's me, Christiana Gaudet. It is 7 o'clock, and it is time for our community class to begin. I'm recording this live on YouTube today, Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2020. If you're watching an archive, thank you so much for being here. And if you're here live, I'm so glad that you are here. So, this class was originally meant to be here in my office, in my community center in Palm City. And it was going to be a really easy class. So my commitment, when we could have people in person, was I did one free thing a month. So this was going to be the free thing. I figured an Oracle exploration night would be easy. I would just put out all my tens of Oracle decks, and people would bring their Oracle decks, and I'd put out a bunch of tables, and we could all read for each other and explore the Oracle decks, and I wouldn't have to work too much. Well, obviously, we had to put everything online, and I'm so grateful to have the technology to be able to do that. I haven't canceled anything. I've just put everything online. And so our format is going to be a little different this evening, but we will spend the next hour discussing Oracle cards. And I see a lot of you in the room already. I want to say hi to all of you. I thank you all for being here. And Michael Wells, I'm particularly happy to see you. I'm particularly happy to see all of you. Don't get jealous of Michael. But here's why I'm particularly happy to see Michael, because he is a professional Oracle card reader, and he's good. And I would have said at one point, how does one really read Oracle cards professionally? How does that really work? I am so familiar and comfortable with the richness of tarot and how tarot in its structure can pretty much handle everything. How does any Oracle deck compete with that? Well, it does. And I have to say, years ago, I used to run a psychic fair, and we had a couple of people there who had very specific Oracle decks that they worked with in that professional setting very well. So I know it can be done. So what are we going to do here for the next hour? Well, we're going to talk about Oracle decks. If you have Oracle decks, I hope you have them with you. And we're going to talk about what makes a good Oracle deck good. We're going to talk about how one can do a comprehensive reading with an Oracle deck. How do you choose Oracle decks? Do you use Oracle decks with your tarot decks? How does that all work for you? And I'm not the expert here. I have a ton of Oracle decks, but I don't use them very often. I really like to use them in group settings. I like to use them in classes. My favorite, so these are my 3 Oracle decks. They're all US Games decks. Conscious Spirit Oracle deck, Magical Times Empowerment cards, and Mystical Wisdom card deck. We'll talk about why they're my favorites in a few minutes, but I'll tell you how I use these is I like to use them in groups. I like to use them in intuitive development classes, especially for people who have not done a lot of card reading, because these are very evocative cards. They have beautiful pictures and they have lots of words on them. So you can really say, okay, everyone pick a card, and they can find wisdom in those cards. And that's a way of sort of opening them up to the idea of cartomancy and the idea of using cards in divination. So that's like my primary use for the cards. So let me say hi to a bunch of people, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, Jake, Alicia, nice to see you. Susan, glad you're here. Brenda Elizabeth, glad you're here. Jeannie, glad you're here. Lori, Zuri, nice to see you. TK, glad you're here. Robin, glad you're here. Jackie, Carol, Marion. Okay, Popliani, did I pronounce that correctly? Glad you're here from Fort Lauderdale, so you're my neighbor. Martha from upstate New York, glad you're here. Karen Winkle, Christine from New Hampshire, Angelica from West Palm Beach, my neighbor. Jean Mnuchin, also my neighbor. Jeannie Layton says, I have a bunch of Oracle decks, but use them primarily for one card draws for clarity. So let me ask you that, if you could expound on that. Clarity in general or clarity in conjunction with a tarot reading? When might you need that clarity? What situation might compel you to draw one card from a deck? And if you have a bunch of decks, how do you choose which deck you're going to draw from? If you could expound on that a little bit, I would appreciate it. And Camille, here from New Orleans. So happy that you're here. So I wanted to share a little bit of information with you. And I've asked Jeannie to type in. Elaine, glad you're here from Minnesota. I've asked Jeannie to type in, but really, any of you that work with Oracle decks, here are the things I want to know. A, what are your favorite Oracle decks? B, what do you like or not like in an Oracle deck? C, do you use Oracle decks professionally? And if so, how do you use them? Tell me everything about your experience with Oracle cards. And if you're a tarotist, how does that integrate for you? So, oh, Jake, you're Robin Levine. So nice to see you. You're using your son's account. Got it. Okay. So Robin says, when I'm feeling off balance, I will pull an Oracle card to help inspire me for the day. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. A particular deck that you like, deck that you don't like, how do you choose the deck? Tell me more, tell me more. I am really hoping that over this next hour, we will share our practices with each other. Okay. La Morena como miel. Did I pronounce that correctly? Never too late. So glad you're here. Okay, so Jeannie, sometimes I'll draw a card as closure after a reading, whether for myself or for a client. Other times I'll pick a deck to help me sort out some shadow spaces. Perfect. Okay. And again, anything you want to tell us about how that works for you. Okay, so far, Michael is the only person I know in this group that uses Oracle cards as his primary tool in professional readings. And he uses Brian Froud's Fairy Oracle. And I've seen him do it. I've seen him in the professional setting doing it. And I have to tell you, when Michael first told me that he was a professional reader and that was the deck he used, I was not quite sure how that would work. And then I saw him in action. And so that really sort of changed. I mean, I probably am very sort of, I don't want to say prejudiced against Oracle decks, but I do feel like they are very limited just because of their nature. And Michael really changed my opinion on that. So I really want to hear in your personal work and also in your professional work. Now, Zuri says, I use Oracle cards as clarifiers and for deep spiritual guidance in readings. Now, Zuri is a professional reader. Are you saying you use those in your professional readings, and which decks and how? More information. Okay, Sally Larkin, nice to see you. Okay. And Michael, you're getting some love from Marion for that deck. Okay, let's see. Okay, from TK, Karen Tillich. My hands were magnetically drawn to Moonology Oracle. I bought a deck a month ago and have done a new moon and full moon spread as of now. How did that go? Camille agrees with me. I feel like they are very limited. Okay, can you put into words why they are limited or how they are limited? Michael says, I feel they really help open you to your intuition. And I believe it. I've seen it work for you. I have seen it work. Explain to us how that works for you and how we can access that. That is beautiful. Okay. From Camille, Flowers from the Dead, Secret Language of Color, and New Orleans Oracle Deck. I use them only to get more info as icing on the cake to close out a tarot reading. So, this is a very interesting thing, and a couple of people have mentioned this. Those of you who are professional tarot readers, and I do think this is a great technique. It's not one I tend to use, but I think it's a great technique to have an oracle deck when you're finishing the tarot reading to draw one card from the oracle deck as a way of summing it up and putting closure. And if you've already set that intention, that really sort of works to close it out. And it is a beautiful thing. Brenda Elizabeth, I had a lot of decks, maybe 15, that I had mostly received as gifts. They sat on the shelf until I brought a big box from Tuesday morning and mixed them all together. Now, have any of you done that, taken a bunch of oracle decks and mixed them all together? And you know what's really cool? I have these 2 decks, also from US Games, by Cheryl Yambrick Rose. This is Art Through the Starstream Oracle, and this is Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. They are individual decks. They're both beautiful, but they were made to be mixed together, so you can mix them together to make one big super deck. But Brenda mixed all kinds of decks together, which I think is really interesting. Really interesting. And what she says is, now I pull one every day with my daily tarot pull. Favorite is the Carolyn Miss Archetype deck. Very good. Okay. And so I want to go back to what Michael was saying, in that the oracle cards are really good at opening to your intuition. And, with any divination, any cartomancy, any divination, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to our intuition. And I think I have probably seen a lot of bad oracle card readers live on Facebook, where they basically will just pull a card for someone, read what's on the card, read the words that are on the card, and that's the reading. I'm like, well, that is reading, but it's not a reading. So that process of using the images and the words to open up your intuition, that is exactly what we want to do. And at that point, there are no limitations at all, are there? Okay. Marion says, I think oracle decks have gotten a bad reputation because of Doreen Virtue and how much fluffy nonsense she put out. Sure. Jeannie, one of my favorite oracle decks to use with clients is the soul cards because people have unique reactions to the imagery. Yes. Okay, Robin likes fairy oracle for a gentle lesson and less vampires for the kick up the butt that I may need. I'm still learning tarot and I don't read for others yet. Very good. From Kat, I love Heart of Fairies oracle, and I use Oracle of the Dragon Fae as a daily meditation. And I think that there are many, many oracle decks that are so good for a daily meditation. Absolutely. Elaine says, I love the Alana Fairchild decks. Great for working on my self-empowerment and visualization. Okay, Robin, the girls at Panera recommended Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. I don't know how to use them, but they are beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. La Morena, I want to get into Oracle, but I don't have any yet. I do have a few decks I like, though. Zuri says, yes, I love the Moon deck, the Numerology Oracle deck, and the Threads of Fate deck. And there's an Essence Oracle deck I love using that uses essential oils in the readings. And that's so cool. That's so cool, right? Camille says, I have so many Oracle decks, but I stopped buying them because they are pretty much a collection of pictures. Right. And Zuri likes to use them to give a ritual tip. Okay, so here's more love for that Brian Froud. Jeannie likes Brian Froud's Heart of Fairy Oracle, Wisdom Well, and Sustain Yourself decks. TK says my Moonology card spread for the new moon was new moon in Taurus, which synced with the Taurus moon a month ago. It told me to wait for powerful changes happening. Karen, Marie, so nice to see you. Glad you're here. Okay, so here's Michael, and Michael's my resident professional expert here today. He says, like tarot, each card has its meaning, but unlike tarot, the oracle gives you the flavor of the situation, and your intuition adds to the story. How is that unlike tarot? I would say that tarot does the same thing. I would say. I would say, if I had to guess, and this is just a guess, I would say the difference is that, first of all, most oracle decks are smaller than tarot. Aren't that many. There are some, but there aren't that many 78 card oracle decks generally. And so you might use more intuition to sort of flesh things out. There may be a tendency, and I'm just trying to think where Michael might be going here. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I'm just kind of playing with this. But the idea that because tarot is so specific, one might not be as intuitive with tarot because the cards will say everything, whereas with an oracle deck, it might be less specific, giving more room for the intuition to blossom. Is that where you were going with that, Michael? And Michael says, maybe I'm just not in time with tarot as much as oracle. Perhaps. And I mean, watching Michael work with that deck was amazing. He drove all the way from St. Petersburg to volunteer for my holiday open house. And it was just amazing to watch him work. And how many cards are in that deck, Michael? I mean, it doesn't feel like a big deck, but there was no one. Oh, and you agree with me. That's how it works. Okay, good. We're on the same page. There was no one who came away from his table that did not find it a really enlightening and helpful experience. So there it is. And Michael says, okay, no, we already did that one. Okay, Karen Winkle. I typically finish out my tarot readings with a 5-card draw, giving the client a peek into the energies they can draw on to overcome obstacles and a special message from the universe. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and there's some love for the idea of putting all the cards together. Divine love and light ceremonies. I love my angels and ancestors and energy oracle. Marion says, I have so many oracle decks, but my go-to are 2 independent decks by a local artist. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Karen has 25 decks. Sally, nice to see you, Sally. I don't have my own deck, but I'm thinking of getting one. Today I'm using my mom's deck, which is the Archangel Oracle by Doreen Virtue, fluffy nonsense. But here's the thing, and I have discovered this. With any oracle deck at all, in fact, some of you were probably with me. I was teaching a class at a local shop, and we were playing with different oracle decks. And I chose, okay, this is one of my least favorite oracles. Woodland Wisdom Oracle cards. Here's why I don't like it. I don't like it because, okay, and this is just personal, my personal preferences. I do not like an oracle deck where, okay, snow goose fairy. What the heck is a snow goose fairy? What is my connection to that? Okay, so there's 66 cards in the fairy oracles. That's a fairly big oracle deck, actually. Okay, makes sense. So, okay, so compare this. Okay, primrose fairy, oak elf. What do you go on with that? What does an oak elf mean? You have to memorize it or you have to read the book. There's no other way around it. With tarot, you can look at what the people are doing in the pictures, and that might tell you something. Or you can look at the elements and the numbers, and that will tell you something. Now compare that to my very favorite, which is Conscious Spirit. And each card actually means something. Here is Sacral Chakra. I feel comfortable in my own body and I'm sensitive to other people's feelings. So you don't need to look at the booklet. You can look at the picture and see what you get from the picture. You can look at what it's a picture of, and you can see the card. So for oracle decks, I don't really love an oracle deck that I have to read the book. And that's so opposite for me, because with tarot, of course, I think, if you're studying tarot, you have to read about it. But once you understand the archetypes of tarot, you should be able to read with any deck. Oracle, not so. But to my point, so I'm teaching this class and we're working with oracle cards. And so I choose to work with this deck that I like the least, because you have to read the book. But even that, when I was working with it, gave really great answers. But here's the skill part. You can't just read the words on the cards. You can't just read the book. You have to be able to extrapolate and intuit. To extrapolate from what you read, to see how it applies to the situation, and from there to intuit further information. And so that skill, that intuitive skill is there. Now, here's my next question to you. I have always felt like, there's some power in tarot in that it's been around for 500 years. And at least, we've been divining with it for at least the past 250 years. And in that, it builds up power. It has power. Any artist that makes those 78 images brings to that not only the power of their own art, but the power of those archetypes. With an oracle deck, it's a one-off. There's only one. And so it feels to me like it can't draw on that whole body of power. And yet, it also seems to me that there is power in each of these decks. Whether that power comes simply from the creative process of creating it, whether that power comes from the energy infused intentionally by the artist, or whether the power comes from the power that we give it as readers, I really do find that each one of these decks does have a great deal of power in it. Do you agree? Do you see that as well? So let's see what other people have to say. Karen says, one of my clients' favorites is the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. So Karen, you are using Oracle decks with clients. Tell us about that. How does it work? What do you do? Jean Mnuchin, as a beginner, I find them less overwhelming. No reversals, fewer cards, not worrying about positioning. Michael also says, I have some Colette Baron Reid decks and I like them. Very good. Robin, I'm hoping that the Moonology deck comes out for the Southern Hemisphere. Okay, Karen, the difference is that tarot cards have universal meanings for each card, whereas Oracle decks each come with a guide from the author that you are expected to follow. Right, exactly. Marion, spiritual journey for Robin. Spiritual journeys for Moonology cards can be used for the Southern Hemisphere. Okay. Karen, I have an astrology oracle deck helping me learn astrology. Martha says, I was never drawn to oracle decks until I saw an Australian reader using Mel Brown's Aboriginal Spirits Oracle. And sometimes, it's that one oracle deck that grabs you. For me, I was like anti-oracle until this one. And that kind of opened me up. Although, the other one that I really, really love is Ciro Marchetti's Oracle of Visions. And this is an interesting one. There's no words on the cards. There is a book, but you can really work without the book because the cards are so amazingly evocative. Okay, let's see. La Morena, I was looking at the Mother Mary cards. Angel Deck's not by Doreen Virtue. Work Your Light, Magics and Mediums. I would love some ancestors, animals, herbs, stones, chakras, etc., etc. Okay, La Morena, I like to see tarot, oracle, and a third divination technique together. So what might be a third divination technique that would go there? Palmistry maybe, or pendulum, perhaps? And Karen says you can look at the pictures in the oracle cards too. There is symbolism as much in much of the artwork. Absolutely, yes. Papliani, what you were saying about numerology and elements is exactly why I like the Magic Neko playing card. Oh, I like the Magic Neko playing card oracle, sure. So that's a good point. There are oracle decks that have created their own systems and work with systems. Very good point. Very good point. Angelica, Doreen Virtue's oracle cards helped me out so much right after my mom passed and sparked my interest in tarot. Absolutely. La Morena, I like Conscious Spirit too. Yay. And Sacred Rebels. Very good. Okay, so Karen, this is interesting. Tell us more about this. I touch the card and get a message from Spirit. So do you feel like you have, and maybe other people too, have activated your cards to work as sort of a portal so that, okay, so when I touch this, Spirit is going to speak with me? Did you do that, and did you do a ritual to help that happen? Okay, Camille, do those who use oracle cards for a full reading, do you use specific positions when you lay the cards? I would love to know that. Okay, Michael, the author says one thing about the card. Use that as a base and then expand on it with what you feel intuit about the person being read. Yes. Now, those of you who use the oracle decks professionally, do you memorize the cards or do you still go to the books? I'd love to hear about that. Okay, Michael says there are reversals in many oracle decks. They can, when the card comes up reversed, they can represent challenges to be worked through. Okay, lots of love for Ciro Marchetti here. Third divination technique, runes, pendulum, ribbons, sure. And Michael says lots of symbology in Druid Animal Oracle deck. Karen likes Quantum Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. And Wisdom of Avalon. Other ideas for a third, to use tarot, oracle, and then also Lenormand, Kipper, Gypsy Witch, cartomancy with playing cards, palmistry, charms, any of them. Okay. Brenda, I totally agree with what you say about tarot having power behind it. I do feel, though, that many types of oracles have power. Yeah, indeed. I used to read flowers for people and got great messages from them. Sure. And Brenda says an oracle is a tool for the intuition. Okay, Karen says, before every reading, I ask for a message from the universe and the person's spirit guides. Beautiful. And Camille says, she knows a reader who does the same thing. Jeannie says, I'm not a ritual person. It's more like a feeling for which deck to use given the person or the environment. Beautiful. Lori Hahn, Osho Zen Tarot. Oh, Lori, man, I'll pay you for that later. Lori has brought something up, which is tarot decks that aren't specifically tarot decks that really are like Oracle. Another one is Hollander's Psychic Tarot. They're called tarot, but they really don't honor the archetypes except very loosely. So they're called tarot decks, but they're really more like Oracle. They're their own thing. Yeah, good point. So here's what Michael does. I read the book to familiarize myself with what the author created the cards to represent, then build on that with your own gifts. And I'm guessing, and correct if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that if you use the same Oracle deck in professional readings over time, just as with tarot, you will find that particular cards come up for particular things. So, okay, so here I am with this deck that I don't like, and say Grass Fairy. And so suppose I read professionally with this deck regularly, and I might discover that every time Grass Fairy comes up, the person I'm reading for has a particular circumstance. And so then that will be added to my personal vocabulary for that card, even if it's not in the book. That when this card comes up, it is likely that the person I'm reading for has this situation. Do you find that to be true? I would suspect that that's true, but I don't know. Let me know. So, Karen says, the ones I use professionally, I have memorized mostly, or I use my intuition. Depends on the individual reading. I may stray a bit from the exact meaning written in the guide. I believe, and I think all of you would agree, that it's always reader's prerogative. No matter what deck you're working with, it is always reader's prerogative to be able to do that. That a card intuitively, whether it's tarot or oracle or anything, that you may stray from the intended meaning or the book meaning, and that's part of the intuitive process, and that's perfectly okay. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. And Marion says the Psychic Tarot has oracle in small writing under the word tarot. Absolutely. Jeannie says, I'll keep the book close by because my brain sometimes freezes up, so I refer to the book, then expand to personalize the meaning. And so that's a very legitimate technique. And at that point, it becomes like bibliomancy, right? Karen says, I find that the more I use them professionally, the more comfortable I am getting messages from them. And Michael agrees, yes, I have cards regularly come up that represent similar situations. So we can say that if you dedicate yourself to a particular oracle deck, maybe not a stack of them like I have, but a particular deck, and you use that same deck over and over again, you will find that they will start to speak with you in their own way. So there was a question about spreads. Do you folks, not those of you who just draw one card for a focus or a meditation or to close up a tarot reading, but if you do a full reading, do you use a positioned spread, and what sort of positioned spread might you use? Please share. So I have to say, whether I like a deck or not, whether I like the art, whether I like what the deck has to say in its images or in its book, I have always found them to be accurate. I have always found cartomancy in any of its forms to be accurate. Ooh, Michael says, my readings usually involve 3 decks, Fairy, Holland, and White Rabbit Oracle. So let us know, Michael, how you put those decks together in a reading. Share with us how you choreograph that reading. Okay, now let me share with you some other thoughts here. First of all, I do want to share with you a little bit about the word oracle. In our common vernacular, we use the word oracle cards to differentiate from tarot. But truly, the word oracle means any tool of divination, so tarot itself is also an oracle. Oracle also means the person giving the reading, so we are all oracles. And oracle also means the message that is given in the reading. So understand that when we talk about oracle cards, we do it to differentiate from tarot. But truly, every deck, every tool is an oracle. We are all oracles, truly. So, I thank you all so much for sharing some of your favorite decks. I've shared some of mine. I also want to point out that it is interesting to note. Oh, and here we go. Claire says a Celtic cross, if there's time, with an oracle deck. Very good. Karen says, yes, I use a position spread. There are many, but one of my favorite is a 9-card spread, 3 columns, or 5-card straight across spread. Can you say what the positions mean in that? And let us know. Karen, as long as I'm drawing more than one card, this is Karen Winkle, as long as I'm drawing more than one card, I will use a specific spread, asking the question as I shuffle. So you'll ask a question, you'll shuffle the cards, and then you'll put the cards in a specific position spread. Let us know what the names of those positions are. And La Morena, I think of the Oracle of Delphi and the Sibyls. Yes, exactly. So, one of the things that's very interesting about oracle decks is not only can they be themed in particular ways, they can be themed for particular uses. I wanted to point out a couple of things. Oh, Claire, with your regular tarot deck. Yes, of course. Okay, for instance, here's a tea leaf reading, fortune cards. Very complex system meant to mimic a tea leaf reading. I love it because you don't have to wash dishes to do a reading. That's why I'm not a tea leaf reader, by the way. Here we have reincarnation cards, awakening far memory. So this deck is specific for the use of awakening far memory, looking at where you might have been or who you might have been before you are you. And here we have contact cards to learn about extraterrestrials. So it is interesting that there are oracle decks that are specific to psychic missions, if you will, specific purposes. So, Jeannie, Tea Leaf Fortune cards. I have that deck, but have never explored it. It is really complex, but it's really kind of cool. It really is. Okay. So, that being the case, my question to you then is, if you were to design an oracle deck, would you want, and I just want you to put on your thinking cap, and think about, what oracle deck would you want to exist, that would you want to design? Would it be a particular theme? Would it be for a particular purpose? Tell us about that. Julie says you really have the full gamut of decks there. Yeah, I do. Julie, you're an oracle card reader. Talk to us about your practices. Michael, here we go. My readings start working with the 3-card spread. Okay, this is good information. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I taught you that one? Woohoo! Oh, we're a good team, my friend. Then the fairy deck. I lay them out 4 or 5 in a row and then go to another row. Beautiful. Marion likes the past life deck. Yeah, it's cool. So, share with me a little bit. You've shared with me some of your favorite cards. You've shared with us your way of using them, your way of integrating them with tarot, your way of using them for clients and in your own personal practice. And I'm learning so much here. I hope everyone's learning. Michael then says he continues with another row into the cards that were used are all laid out. Ooh, okay, good. That is very interesting. La Morena, that's one thing I like about Oracle is the specificity. Can really be personalized to the querent or the reader creator. Absolutely. Karen says, I will ask what is the most important energy the client needs to focus on and what energy is blocking them. Oh, that's beautiful. Then what energy they need to shed to get past the block. What energies can help. Beautiful. Finally, a message from the universe. Okay, Karen Maynard, the 5-card spread. You guys, I hope you're taking notes, man. This is great information. First card is the situation. Second is expectations. Third, hidden influences. Fourth, advice from spirit guides. And fifth, outcome. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, Claire has an idea for an oracle deck using modern archetypes like types of cars or superstars for each. Oh, I love that. And Michael says when he talks about using these 3 decks the way he does, they tell the story of what the client is going through. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Julie says, I usually connect to guides and then pull 1 card per question. It's more intuitive work than anything else. Absolutely. Brenda, I sometimes give one to everyone after I host a meditation class and ask them to take a moment and get their own messages from them. Yes, indeed. Sally, I would like to have something based on Leonardo da Vinci because there are so many aspects of his life. Oh, I love that. Oh, Marion, I'm working on an oracle deck just now. I started it off as a project to use my paper crafting stuff. Beautiful. And Karen is creating an oracle deck. How fabulous is that? That is a wonderful thing. So, please continue to share your thoughts, but in, great artistic masters. That is a great idea. Now, would you use their paintings or them themselves and their lives? Like, would there be a card for Vincent van Gogh cutting off his ear, for Da Vinci painting the Sistine Chapel, or was that Michelangelo? I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. Kat, I've seen literature-based tarot and have not seen ones that resonate with me. I would do a literature-based oracle. So, would you do it would you do like one genre of literature or one particular author? What could that look like? That could be really interesting. There's, one thing that's great is you don't have to try to match to the archetypes of tarot. You can create your own archetypes, and that's a whole other question. What archetypes should be present? Michael says, then the Holland deck, I lay out 5 cards and a cross just to get a second opinion. Very good. And finish up with any specific question the client may have. Perfect. So my question is, I'm assuming they always, sort of work together, that when you're getting that second opinion, that it will sort of work off of what you've already done. Do they ever come up in conflict with each other? And if they do, how do you read that? Okay, so a lot of love for the literature idea. Very good. And Sally would like to, in doing the great artist masters, use a combination of art and life story. Sure. So I really hope that this conversation inspires people to work with their oracle cards and perhaps to create their own. Okay, so I thought this would be fun just as a, a deck of abstract art, like watercolor ink blots. So aren't the soul cards kind of like that, maybe? Julie, why don't we have a detailed, straight-up archetypes deck like Carolyn Meese, but broader? Or do we? I don't know. A lot of love for this literature idea, though. It's cool. It's very cool. Okay, so I thought it would be fun. Since you guys know I am not an oracle card reader, I'm a tarot reader. Well, and yes, they are oracles too, but you know what I mean. I thought it would be fun for me to grab one of my favorite decks and answer some questions. I want to do some card draws for you and just see how it works. And again, I have, when it comes to oracle cards, I really am a babe in the woods. I'm not an expert here. but I thought it would be fun to do some question and answer and do that exploration and see how it works. For Karen, she says, sometimes if you're working with more than one deck, the cards will come up in conflict. You must understand that we are complex and two things may be going on at the same time. Very good. Very good. And a lot of love here for the art decks. So art decks, lit decks, and archetype decks. People are into that. Okay. So keep sharing your ideas and your thoughts there. And why don't I do... I have so many decks here. So many decks. But why don't I... Where's the one I was... Oh, here it is, my mystical wisdom. So I'll tell you, I like this one. I like this mystical wisdom deck because it's got words, but it also has these really intense pictures that you can see a whole lot in. And you know how Spirit likes to work with you with pictures where it may draw your eye to a particular thing and then that takes you somewhere. Michael, the 5 cards usually support the previous cards, but when they don't, it's usually because the client has difficulty deciding what direction they want to take. Yes, 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 yes. And so you know what I'm seeing? From those of you who use oracle cards professionally quite regularly, is you have really worked out your own relationship with them, how you do them, how they speak to you, how they speak about your clients. And there's so much freedom here. So I asked Michael to come so I could use him as an example, but we also have Karen Maynard here. We've got Julie Barrett. So we have quite a few people who do use oracle cards professionally here. And what we have learned here, and you know, we say with tarot, there's no right way to do tarot. You have to find the way that works for you. But there are some time-honored traditions. With oracle decks, not so. And so you can choose, how many oracle decks am I going to use? 1, 2, 3, whatever. How am I going to lay them out? And you can see, it looks like Michael for sure, and maybe also Karen Maynard, have discovered their own choreography for this, their own way of doing this. And when they do this with each and every client, they learn how that works. And they have created something new under the sun that is as powerful as any of our ancient techniques. So how beautiful is that? Karen wants to know if I'm selling decks during the COVID break. I mean, I've got my store here, but I'm not seeing anyone in person, and I don't even really feel like mailing stuff. So, I mean, I guess I could, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. But if there's something you want, let me know. We can talk. La Morena, I want to make a tarot deck based on my culture and spiritual traditions, so I'd want the oracle to complement that. Beautiful. Michael, you can always ignore the words on the cards or just build on the words and relate them to the clients. Absolutely. Just as you would do with keywords in tarot. So, I keep on sharing your ideas, but in our last few minutes, let me do a few readings and just see how it goes, just for fun. So go ahead, if you have a specific question for a reading, type it in, and I will pull a card or two. And again, I mean, I have no technique here. We've got people here who have like really significant techniques. I got nothing. But let's play and let's see how it goes. And I hope that encourages you to play as well. We've had people here share the gamut of different decks and how different decks might be used. So the other thing I'd like you to do is think about, would there be a new practice? Are you going to get a new deck? Are you going to do a new practice? What have you learned here today that has sparked your imagination? Okay, Lori Hahn, a general message for tomorrow, a job interview over the phone. Okay, let's see what we got. Dragon, discover your courage. Do not be afraid. What I see in this card is this might be something that could really take you somewhere. So just be brave and go for it. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Okay. Karen Winkle, how is my latest kitty feeling being part of our family? Dreams. Believe in your dreams. So what I'm going to say is that the kitty is feeling very much at home, that you are like the family of their dreams. And Claire says, I'm making my own with soul collage workshops. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, TK, reading for me, please. My job ends in 2 months. Will the Canada and travel plan come in time? I'm going for a different deck here. Let's bring out the Magical Times Empowerment cards. Why not? They're pretty backs, too. Let's see what we see. Okay, the card you got is nature. And it's interesting that we see someone here in like a hood, you know, and it's cold in Canada, so that feels good. Sometimes all you need to do is go outside. Breathe the fresh air to remember who you are and where you want to be. Yes, yes, I believe it will. Okay, Michael. Multiple decks is like having a gathering of guides standing at your shoulders. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, Karen Maynard. I am in mourning, profound sadness. Message from the goddess, please. Okay, and so for you, I'm going to pull out my other deck. But I have to put these cards away first, and I'm stumbling on that. So maybe I'll just put them to the side. I'll put them away later. Okay, here's my favorite deck, Conscious Spirit Oracle. Okay. For you, Karen, oh, isn't this interesting? I had pulled this as an example and I shuffled and it came out again. The sacral chakra. I feel comfortable in my own body and I'm sensitive to other people's feelings. And so what I see there, in your place of mourning, you still have to find your power. Do not give up your power, even though you're going through a tough time. Find your energy center and find your power. Okay, which deck? Sally asked about a deck. Which deck were you asking about? Were you asking about Conscious Spirit Oracle deck or Magical Times Empowerment? Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Claire, should I refinance? Heart chakra. I love myself and others unconditionally and nurture loving relationships. So the question, should I refinance? What I'm going to say is if you feel in your heart that you should, then you should. Kat, how can I be my truest self? Ooh, the present. I fully experience every moment of my life by living in the present. Be mindful in the moment. Try not to think too much about the past or the future. Just be present. And in being present, Kat, you will know who you are. Okay, Michael, finances. Integration. I combine body, mind, and spirit to lift all of humanity into a new dimension, right? And this is where things get weird because you wouldn't think that that question matches that card. But if you put it together, here's the thing. Michael, there is no particular situation in your life that is bringing in as much money as you want. But if you do a little of this and a little of that, and you're creative about how you put it together, you'll be fine. Okay, Angelica, should I apply for new jobs now? Let's see. Oh, I shuffled and we got the same thing, integration. Yes, you should absolutely apply for new jobs, but you may end up with more than one at the same time. Okay, Julie, what is the next best step for me to take in the side business? Ha ha ha, your own path. That's what it says. I follow my own unique path with courage and strength. Do not try to model your business on anyone else's. Make it specifically yours and put it out there without fear. You have done so many fearless things recently. Do this. Do this. Okay. Robin, what message do I need to adhere to improve my health? I am falling apart at the moment. And Michael, I thought you said you didn't read Oracle. You're killing it. So, but here's the thing, okay? First of all, I feel like I'm operating with both my hands tied behind my back. It's not easy. But I really believe that a good reader, a true reader, can really read anything. As long as you connect and let the message flow. And so, putting myself out here as a guinea pig because, this is as a musician, me playing my worst instrument. And the messages are still sort of coming across. I hope that inspires all of you to play with new cards, to be open to letting the messages come, right? Okay. Okay, so Robin. Okay. What message do I need to adhere to improve my health? Third eye. I seek the wisdom of my higher self and apply that wisdom in my life. You are not falling apart. You are just not looking within the way you need to. I believe, Robin, that you are looking within, but against a filter of thinking about what's wrong with you, not just what's wrong with you physically, but what's wrong, like you're self-judging. Stop judging yourself. See yourself as higher power sees you. See yourself as a child of higher power. Change how you see yourself and your health will improve. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but that's what I think. Okay. And the other thing there, Robin, is good psychic protection. Could be helpful. Jeannie, some love for Michael. I love how you phrased having multiple decks. It's like having a gathering of guides. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay. And also from Julie for Michael, that's exactly how I feel about it. Oracle cards really bring the guides to the table. They help me choose the deck. Okay. So I'm going to do just a couple of more questions and then we will be done. And Michael says it's taking you out of your regular structure. A friend of mine once told me the same thing about being able to use anything to do a reading. Yeah. So what a fun exploration. Okay, La Morena, spiritual business venture look like? Sacred space. I find peace, security, and contentment when surrounded by nature's beauty. You have to create your own container. You have to do it according to what your guides want you to do. Let them help you with it. That's the bottom line. Okay, for Camille, I'm involved in a new work project with my job as a tour guide. What's this looking like for me? Archangel Michael. Wow, grateful for the strength and courage Archangel Michael brings to my life. Now remember that Archangel Michael is the angel of communication. So I think that would help you a great deal as a tour guide. I think it's going to go great. Okay, hey Michael, thank you. I really appreciate your help today and I appreciate all of you being here. That was a fun exploration. Really enjoy it. So we've got a lot going on this week. Because I moved all my in-person stuff online, there's a ton this week. So tomorrow, which is Wednesday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, On Facebook, on my Facebook business page, Christiana Gaudette is Global Tarot Circle. I hope you join us for that. This coming Saturday is my monthly regularly scheduled YouTube class. It's at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on my YouTube channel, and that is designing your own tarot spreads. So I hope you join us for that. And of course, if you're an Oracle card reader, you can design your own spreads for that too. Sunday, this coming Sunday, would have been our in-person Cards and Conversation meetup at Panera in Palm City. Since we can't be there, we're meeting again here on YouTube Sunday afternoon at 4. And that's a more informal gathering. So I hope to see you. Those are 3 more opportunities to meet online this week. Normally, I wouldn't bunch it up like that. But because I took all my things from all different places and put them in together, that's what happened. So tomorrow on Facebook Live at Christiana Gaudette, the business page, 7 p.m. Saturday morning, right back here, 10:30 a.m., designing your own tarot spreads. And Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m., our Cards and Conversation meetup. I really hope to see you there at all of those. And I do want to let you know, I've got a Zoom class coming up. That's a premium class. It's $37.50. Practical Tarot Techniques. You can sign up for that on my website or on my Facebook page. My website is christianagaudette.com. Just go to the events. Okay. You guys, thank you so much for being here. It has been a lot of fun. I think we all agree that the exploration of these cards is just so much fun. And it's something we can come at with a light-hearted energy, but still find deep guidance. So, right, Brenda says it's a tarot-thon this week. It really is. But I hope you guys will do the tarot-thon with me. And if you're watching an archive, of course, I thank you so much for being here as well. And I hope for all of you that maybe you got an idea or something you might want to do to add to your own divination practice. So thank you to all of you who shared your likes, your dislikes, what works, what doesn't. Thank you so much. Hope to see you, and I hope to see you tomorrow night at Global Tarot Circle. I hope to see you all soon. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it.